Hey, Phil Kohler.
Hello, Nick Robinson.
This is exciting. I'm going to show you a video game. The new game from Fulbright, the creators of Gone Home. It is called Taco Man. It is about
Man.
Yep, it's about a guy who is a he's sort of a superhero, a Mexican food themed superhero.
Sure.
It's a big departure from I think their last game. Kind of different, very different tone. No, this is Tacoma. Have you heard of Tacoma?
I have heard a little bit about Tacoma, although at this point I would say I'd be more excited for Taco Man.
Okay, well, they're both. I mean, hopefully, it's a big industry. We can have both types of games, right?
Sure, absolutely.
So this is the new game from Fulbright, and it takes place on a sort of, I guess, derelict, is that the right word? A space station.
Sure.
And it was a game that I saw some footage on the internet a few months back and immediately stopped watching it because I didn't want to spoil it for myself.
And yet here you are spoiling it for everyone else.
Well, they're opting in, right? I'm not forcing it on anyone. But yeah, this game is super interesting to me for a bunch of reasons that I think we'll get to later in this video. One of which is that this is a fictional universe, obviously, right? Like this is the far-flung future of the 2080s.
Sure.
It's the 80s. I love the 80s. I know you do, Phil.
Yeah, of course.
And that's really interesting to me because I really enjoyed Gone Home. But one big difference is Gone Home was very much about realistically depicting a time and place that existed essentially in real life, right? More or less. Like the people were fictional and some of the schools and stuff were fictional, but it was mostly real. This game is interesting in that it has to envision this future. So whereas every item in Gone Home, I guess, was very realistic and built this world in that way, everything in this game is full of everything in this game is full of sort of tiny secrets that unveil more about this universe. There's a whole lot of fascinating world building at work here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I remember part of what was so cool about Gone Home was that there were all these like references to a time period, that there were like very specific things that they were trying to evoke. So trying to do that in a fictional world, in a future fictional world, is certainly a very different challenge, it feels like.
Yeah, and it's something I spoke to them a little bit about. It's so let's talk about this a little bit. This is one of the other, probably the biggest difference from Gone Home, which is that there are characters in this game, sort of.
Yeah.
I mean, there are definitely characters in this game, but they're 3D polygonal models of characters that move around and talk to one another. In a sense.
Now, are these characters actually here, or
No.
is this like recordings?
Yeah, so you might have noticed at the very beginning there's this message that says by entering this ship you sort of consent to having your voice and your 3D motion recorded. And so what you're sort of looking at is basically logs of the people who are on this ship. And it's a really cool idea because rather than just do the traditional vanilla audio log thing, you kind of get to see these characters move and interact and actually walk around the ship, which is something we'll discuss in a little bit.
It reminds me a little bit of how Everybody's Gone to the Rapture does it, with the main difference being like it looks like the characters in here, those polygonal models, are a little bit more recognizably human, in a way that like the weird light creatures in Everybody's Gone to the Rapture aren't. So I feel like I might like it a little bit more in Tacoma, but it's hard to say. Yeah,
it's a little bit more grounded than what you see in Everybody's Gone to the Rapture. Here I am exploring a bathroom.
Yeah.
There's where you put your refuse. There's some anti-nausea.
You've never been in one of these, so...
no, I've never been in either type of bathroom. Spence toiletries here.
Perfect.
Got this. And you can basically examine anything in the game just like you could in Gone Home.
You'll probably need that to solve a puzzle.
Yep, the toiletry puzzle.
Cinnamon toothpaste? That's gross.
The future is weird. I don't know what to tell you. It's a strange time. Oh,
oh, hello.
So that is...
Oh, so there's robots.
There is a sanitation drone that scared the bejesus out of me, so I threw some toiletries at him.
Oh, and then you threw him. That's rude.
Well, you know, emergent gameplay. I don't know what to tell you.
I guess.
But yeah, the brunt of this game is sort of grabbing objects and like observing them. And I don't know, it's something that I found pretty satisfying in Gone Home, although I probably didn't look at everything in that game, but in this game, I just feel really compelled.
I spent a while in Gone Home trying to gather everything in the house I could and just like throw all of it into the entryway.
Well, you're really gonna love this game because they've expanded on the physics-based piling stuff up in a hallway gameplay from Gone Home by making this a setting without gravity. So
Yeah.
all of a sudden throwing... It's almost like that old Wii game Elebits. Like, throwing stuff around in this game is so satisfying because it's all bouncing off walls. There's a moment
definitely
later...
you wanna bring up a reference that people will really get. So
Oh, like Elebits, yeah.
Yeah.
Classic. No, like, for example, it's not in this video, it's from a little bit later in the game, but I found a medical bay that had some gloves in it, and
Sure.
each finger on the glove was, like, articulating the same way it would in space. Like, it was this wobbly, floaty, like, realistic depiction of how a glove would behave in a zero-gravity
cool.
setting. It was cool. I brought it with me all the way to the end of the game.
Let me ask you this. One of the things about Gone Home that was interesting is it was this very normal setting, and there was like a weird sense as you're exploring, like, oh, something's not right here. There might be something supernatural, but
Yeah.
that was really just kind of the game messing with you. A derelict spaceship is a much creepier setting than a home that's been abandoned.
Right.
In my opinion. And it seems like it would be harder to avoid something weird having happened here. Do you get the sense that this is more of like an actual, like, some shit went down beyond just like human drama?
I think some shit went down. I feel confident in saying that some shit went down.
Okay.
And I think that's not spoiling anything. I think if you watch the trailers, it's clear that something happened on this ship. But I think just like Gone Home, it's ambiguous what it was. If the creepiness is just something I'm making up in my head because I'm in this spooky setting, or if you know,
I mean,
who knows?
and there to be clear, in Gone Home, like, if you'd asked me in the first hour or so what I thought, I probably would have said the same thing. I probably
would have
been
said
like,
ghosts.
some shit definitely went down. There's ghosts here, dude.
So this, to me, is the single most interesting thing about Tacoma. These characters are sort of all in this room, all talking. They're watching some sort of astrological event, some sort of solar flare, I think, or something.
Yeah.
But what's really cool about this is that me as a player, there are two conversations taking place. Sarah and Roberta are talking, and Natalie comes in. Then this other group of characters is talking off to the side, and I can actually listen to one of their two conversations by just standing near them and listening.
Sure.
So you, as a player, have a kind of a lot of agency in a cutscene compared to what you'd have in a normal game. So like I can kind of choose who I'm listening to, which side of the conversation I hear, and it's really cool because I saw even more dramatic examples of this later in the game. So there was like a med bay where there was a diagnosis happening, and the doctor left the room. But because it was a recording, I was able to like follow her out of the room as she left and watch her type in a password on a prompt somewhere. Like the ability to follow characters as they leave and enter rooms in mid-conversation is kind of a crazy narrative thing that I've never seen in a game before. Like, it really changes. Being able to move around in a cutscene and follow different characters is kind of huge and has me really excited for this game. But yeah, that's a look at Tacoma, and I'm sure we'll be seeing and hearing more from it shortly.